If you are just joining us, we are David August,
Sarah Brown Carter.
and I'm going to show you first, as we wait for people to figure out that this is live,
Yeah.
the environment that we are in. It is really quite beautiful, and I'm going to use my nice camera to show you. We are overlooking the San Fernando Valley. Some of those tall buildings over there are Universal City, home to Universal Studios, I believe the largest studio complex in the Western Hemisphere.
That's right.
And we're at this overlook on Mulholland Drive, but hopefully we'll have nothing surreal like the David Lynch movie.
I should hope not.
I should hope not to. But we figured that we would come here because it is a beautiful environment, and we would talk turkey or talk shop or talk inside baseball, choose your metaphor, about demo reels.
Yes.
And this is the
on that side.
either way.
Easier?
Either way.
We can trade sides for you.
We can trade sides. Excellent.
Go. There's an arm in the way.
Excellent. We have one viewer. Hello, viewer.
Oh, hi.
Hopefully people will find their way to this and join us as we're going. So, proper introduction. The reason we are doing this is tomorrow, the 28th of March, is hashtag Demo Reel Day, where actors share their demo reels online, and people who hire or work with actors can conveniently click that hashtag and watch a bunch of demo reels. The day is focused on North America, but anyone from around the world who wants to work in North America is welcome. I am David August, the creator and host of hashtag Demo Reel Day, and an actor.
And I am Sarah Brown Carter, an actor and producer. And I've kind of been helping David out with Demo Reel Day a couple times.
Indeed.
Been
It's
involved.
been nice. Last time we did a live stream on the day itself.
Yes.
Which I think confused some people because some people were thinking it was just a live stream, which it isn't. The main focus is supposed to be the event itself, so I figured this would be a pre-event. Oh, cool. So,
What did that say?
he said, thanks, David.
Hello.
Hi, Sarah. Hello,
Hi.
welcome.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you for joining. So I made myself, instead of doing fancy motion
You want me
graphics,
to hold it out for you since you
sure.
have your hands full?
It might be backwards, I'm not sure. Note to self, print the mirror image, but that's
Possibly.
because theact.com is the brand I kind of use for my acting resources online, and hashtag Demo Reel Day is what we are planning for tomorrow.
That's
So if you don't have a demo reel already together, that's okay. You can still participate by watching other people's and getting a sense of how they edit them. And I took some notes in terms of some of the topics we can cover.
Yes.
But if anyone in the audience has any suggestions, I'm open to talking about those too.
Or questions about how to put together a demo reel or how to upload it to Twitter, because I know that's a concern for a lot of people. It's
is.
easiest. It's easier to watch if you upload the actual video directly to Twitter and not attach a Vimeo or YouTube link.
If you don't have the time, energy, or inclination,
Yes.
you can connect the link, but the problem there is someone like an agent, a manager, a producer, director, who's clicked hashtag Demo Reel Day won't be able to just hit play, hit play, hit play. They have to open another window, another tab, and especially agents, I think, spend their lives with tabs open.
So it's more likely your video will be seen if you upload it directly to Twitter. And if it's under 2 minutes, which it should be, it shouldn't take that long to upload to Twitter. So you're not going to be waiting there for hours and hours.
Exactly. Twitter actually has a hard and fast limit of 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Perfect.
Which I kind of like because we'll get into this, but demo reels being much longer than that probably aren't going to get much more material than that watched.
Right.
In terms of the context.
Right.
Thank you very much. Someone said that that was good advice.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Excellent. So what I kind of was informally thinking was we'd talk about demo reels sort of from the broad strokes from the outside in. So first talking about things like how long they should be. I've heard some people say that they only watch the demo reel as long as they need to know what they need to know about the actor. So if in the first 30 seconds they see a compelling performance, they're done. They don't watch the rest.
Yeah.
If in the first 30 seconds they go, this person needs some training, this person isn't where I need them to be, they'll stop watching. Excuse me, I think that was
That's fine.
cookie
It's a
burp.
Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday.
It's a
That was
Tuesday
chocolate chip
afternoon.
cookie burp. Delicious. So that's why I tend to think the Twitter limit of 2 minutes and 20 seconds is probably a good discipline. When I re-edited my reel some time ago now, I did it to, I think, 2 minutes and 19 and a half seconds. And that worked pretty well. And I think if in 2 minutes and 20 seconds you don't have a sense of someone's work, then
Yeah.
maybe they don't have the right material in, or maybe they have spent too much time dwelling on other actors, which I'll get into in a second.
If it's really, really compelling, casting directors and producers will watch the whole thing. Chances are, and I'm not a casting director, but I have been a casting associate for a couple of films, and then I am a producer, and I have a lot of casting friends. So listening to them talk, I'm not a casting director, so this is not always the way it is. But a lot of times when you're watching a demo reel, if the first bit isn't what you're looking for, oftentimes they'll skip ahead and look for something that they're looking for, and if they go through the whole 2 minutes and they don't find it, most of the time they're not going to watch the entire reel unless it's so compelling.
Yeah, and I just saw someone who commented, is the 30-second rule for casting directors? It depends. Everything that we say, or really anyone says, about acting or Hollywood, take with a little bit of a grain of salt. Everyone's opinions can be different.
Absolutely.
That said, what would technically be called the use case by someone who's a user interface developer, the situation in which someone's using your reel to find out about your acting work is, if it's a casting director, they probably don't have a lot of time.
They got no time.
For commercials, they may not even have a chance to look at the reel, because commercials cast very quickly.
And it's usually based off look.
Yeah, there's a lot. Commercials can tend towards look being more important than some other formats. Television also tends to be on a fairly compressed time schedule for casting. Feature films tend to have the most time to put into things. But basically, they're going to look at the reel because it's then the next and so forth. So if you don't read the whole article, you got what you needed. So too with the demo reel. Put your best material, most compelling, the stuff you're proudest of, the things you think. Dialogue. Absolutely.
Dialogue.
You don't just want to, and we'll get into this more, have a montage of your stills at the beginning, because if they want stills, there are places to look at still pictures of actors.
They want to make sure that you look good while you're talking, because a lot of people make up their demo reels, or I'm sorry, their resumes, or they have good pictures, but a lot of people, first of all, don't look like their picture. So they want to see what you look like on camera while you're talking, what your voice sounds like. I have a very raspy voice. It's more raspy than usual. I was at a music festival this weekend in Arizona, so it's very dusty.
Right.
But they want to make sure that the voice works for what they're casting for. And they want to see that within the first 10 seconds. So they want to make sure that you can talk well, see what your voice is like, and to make sure that you can actually act. Everybody can look pretty on camera.
Yeah.
So I would put dialogue, good dialogue first. Do the cool reaction shots later, but dialogue is really important.
Yeah, and I think definitely material that you think you're most likely to be cast in.
Yeah.
A slightly different conversation we could have is about casting types, but if you tend to be playing the villains, probably put a villain at the top.
Own your typecast.
And if you have any questions, you can make comments right here in the YouTube video. Because my phone is right now streaming, I can't actually answer text messages or Twitter messages. I'll try to get to those afterwards, but if you're watching and you have a question, please ask here. I think you might need a YouTube account, which basically means you probably need a Google account. But, so yes, definitely put your first best material in there.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about doing an introduction where it's like a still shot of the actor with their name or something like that?
For my demo reels, and I edit a lot of demo reels, I usually do put the headshot for maybe 2 seconds, and I just put their name. Sometimes a website, but if you upload that demo reel to LA Casting, you can't have any kind of information on it, only a name. So then you're having to redo it. You should be Googleable. So if it's just your name, they should be able to type in your name to Google, and your website comes up, your YouTube comes up, your social media comes up. That's the goal.
Your IMDb can
Your IMDb comes up first. Yeah, that's more important. You should be Googleable. And even if you don't have a ton of things on Google, you should have all of those accounts to make you Googleable. So you really don't need a big introduction. You just want a picture to show. That's usually the headshot that you submitted for, and then right into your really strong dialogue material is my recommendation.
Okay, so someone asked me how I've done a video that is set on Mars in the future. It's Mars 2075. It's a colonist sending a message back to his family after a wildfire destroyed the planet. And thank you. It's also in 360. And the question that was just asked is, how does that kind of thing sort of fit in with this? And I would say footage of short films or footage of scenes separate from a demo reel, those are great if casting wants to get to know you better and they have the time to get into them. But your demo reel is kind of your trailer for all your work.
Yeah.
Think of it kind of like a movie has a trailer. It's a 90-minute, 2-hour movie, but the trailer itself is probably 2-ish to 5-ish minutes. Your demo reel, probably you aren't going to get people watching that last 5th minute, but your demo reel maybe have selections from that. So like my sharing a project I did, like Mars 2075, is someone said that their comments wouldn't work on YouTube.
Oh, bummer.
Maybe try reloading the page.
You know what? I'll keep my phone open too.
Excellent.
I'm not on YouTube, but you can tweet.
You can tweet,
me.
and if you use the hashtag #DemoReelDay, then we'll see the tweets.
Yeah, let's do that. If you can't come on YouTube, comment on Twitter #DemoReelDay, and then I can see it. Or you can tweet me at Sarah Brown Carter.
Or
But-
me at David August,
Yeah,
except
I
I'm
won't
not
see
going to
it.
be seeing that right now, unless she searches for it.
So
But
yeah, tweet us your questions if you can't YouTube it.
I would say, like on my demo reel page on my own personal website, I have the demo reel embedded. You hit play, it's right there. But I also have links, which I should probably update, to whole projects if people want to see a project that actually some of those aren't in my current demo reel. So if they want to see more material, it's right there. There's also, if they notice, a little icon for YouTube so they can go to my YouTube channel. They'll be able to see this.
Also keep in mind, because a lot of questions pop up about how current should your material be. If you look very different, if you have awesome footage from 3 years ago, but you look completely different, it's not relevant. Because if
Yeah.
your demo reel has a bunch of different looks, casting when they're watching your demo reel is not going to know who you are. Or
One
if you're a kid
caveat I
actor.
would say is, if you're blonde in one and you're brunette in the other,
Sure.
3 hours later, a colorist can change you back.
Sure.
So for a lot of productions,
Yeah.
that's not going to make a difference. But like if Sarah were to play a GI and had to cut her hair into that look,
Or I mean something that I did when I was a teenager.
that too.
Even though it's a great piece,
Yeah.
it's not relevant because I don't look like that anymore, and I can't play like I'm a teenager anymore.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm too tall. I don't get booked that. So save it for your mom, but it's probably not the best piece to put in your demo reel because it's not going to work for you. Because if somebody sees that, they're like, great, we want her, and you come in for a 16-year-old spot, you're wasting everyone's time.
Right. If you look 10 years older than you looked then,
Don't do it.
basically think of the demo reel kind of like a trailer for a movie. You're trying to put the product in the purchaser's hand, so to speak. I've heard that said in the sales world, put the product in the customer's hand. And the customer in this case is probably a producer who's actually hiring you, or someone who works for a producer,
Yep.
like a casting director, or an agent who's going to be pitching you and is going to be your salesperson, selling you to that producer through that casting director. So if you can show up and do what you did on your demo reel, great, use it. If you
Right.
can't, like if you had to get a buzz cut for a role and you've got footage where your hair's long, unless you're definitely growing your hair back out
Right.
or have a believable wig,
Right.
that gets a little dicey.
Because if they bring you in for that role and you do not look like that role anymore, that is not good.
It's probably even more vital for headshots than it is for
Yes.
demo reels.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true because you can look different in a movie.
But demo reels,
Hi.
hi, we are in a public park. Someone said,
That's a
there's
great
so many
point.
platforms out there to showcase talent. What do I consider the top 5? That's an excellent question, and part of
Yeah.
it depends upon what market you're in.
Yep.
We're sitting in Los Angeles, which uses primarily 2 websites for casting what's called theatrical, TV and film work. That would be LA Casting and Actors Access. Probably right now the volume is more Actors Access than LA Casting, but that could change because there's been some change in the marketplace that we won't get into right now.
Traditionally, Actors Access is more TV and film, and LA Casting is more commercials, although Actors Access is doing commercials now.
Yes,
But it's
and LA Casting is now the one thing that all of the Fox movies and TV shows are using. They're
Yes.
no longer using Actors Access.
And I will say, actually, if you have an Actors Access account, this is really, really important. You can, if you're in your demo reel, you can cut it up and have little snippets. And what's the thing right now, talking to casting directors, is when you submit for a project or your agent submits you for a project and casting sees your page and they want to look at your material and you have material broken up 10, 30, 15 seconds of drama, crying scene, fitness, boxing, comedy, whatever they're casting for, they want to click on that one piece. So this is a little bit different than demo reel day, but I have a feeling people are going to ask questions about breaking it up. For demo reel day, if you have a comedy reel and a drama theatrical reel, that's great. But a new thing a lot of people don't know about Actors Access is you can have a lot of different clips up.
Individual
and it's free,
clips.
and
Yeah.
that saves a lot of time, because if you have one demo reel, casting has to fast forward and look for the right clip.
Now your agent or manager can submit
Just that clip.
you play some corporate boss type,
And that's the
very
title,
broadly.
boss.
They attach that clip for a role that's like
Yeah.
that. You play a homeless person, they attach that.
For
You play
demo reel day,
a parent.
I wouldn't suggest having 9.
Demo reel day, you probably want one demo. If people watch one piece of 2 minutes of your footage, what do you want it to be?
Or if you have a lot of footage.
We're live again. Sorry, someone made a phone call and I would put this on airplane mode, but then I wouldn't be able to live. So to more fully answer, because I was asked the 5 sites that are best for promoting talent,
Yes.
I'm going to answer that in sort of a video context. I would say the casting websites that apply for your jurisdiction, which is probably in the United States, Actors Access, owned by Breakdown Services, LA Casting or New York Casting, or the various other incarnations like San Francisco Casting that is owned by casting networks. Those 2, because you're going to be either submitting yourself or have representatives using those as tools. If you were in Britain, the answer would be Spotlight, because that's a big site for British actors. In Canada, I'm not sure what's the most definitive, but I have this sneaking suspicion, that Actors Access and LA Casting, or their Canadian incarnations. I know Actors Access is focused partly on Toronto and Vancouver as well. Then I would say YouTube, because if someone's looking for video footage of anything in the world,
That's true.
that's probably where they're going to go.
That's very true.
We could have a whole other live stream talking about the virtues or downsides of YouTube.
That's so true.
But YouTube is going to be good. Vimeo is respected by some who feel that it doesn't sort of munge footage as much, but sometimes Vimeo doesn't play as well on as many platforms. And then, like for tomorrow, using native video, the best video solution in the context you are putting that message out, which for tomorrow is going to be putting your video up directly on Twitter, so that it's hosted from Twitter's machines and is going to play best in all the different places people can look at a Twitter video, whether that's they get it as a text message, or they're in an app on their smartphone, or they're on a tablet or a desktop. That's going to be the best context for that. If you're sending an email, say you've self-taped something, you're probably going to want to include a YouTube link, unless you're using a system that, like some other websites have, where you're doing it through that system.
Then you can't.
Yeah, then you have to use their system. But basically, I would say the top 5 sites are going to be not necessarily in this order, depending on where you are or what you're doing, but YouTube, Actors Access, LA Casting,
Spotlight in Europe,
or at least for British actors, and then like Twitter or Facebook, Facebook native videos. We won't get into this in detail, but the algorithm in Facebook decides what to show people where, and Facebook prefers videos that are hosted on Facebook.
Yeah.
Sort of like Twitter prefers videos that are hosted on Twitter.
But if your page is private, no one will see it.
Right.
Keep that in mind.
So you have to make sure that the people you want to see it have permission to see it where you are.
And just a reminder, if you're tuning in and you cannot ask us a question on YouTube, feel free to send one over via Twitter using hashtag #DemoReelDay, and I got my phone out and I can see it if you can't comment
if you
or
can't
ask a
comment
question
in
on
the
YouTube,
chat here.
just so you know.
Someone did say that they wished more people were watching this. Me too, but tomorrow on hashtag #DemoReelDay itself, I plan to reshare at least a link to this replay. So this information will be available hopefully to more actors, and
Thank you for saying that. I'm
thank
glad
you for saying that
enjoyed
as
it.
well. I'm glad too. I think my goal here is for everyone to more efficiently and more effectively be able to get their work in front of the people who can then hire them.
Yep.
Because if you're a producer, you don't want it to be difficult to see actors' work either.
Right.
And you don't want your casting person to have a difficult time doing it.
Also, a lot of actors are looking for representation,
Yes.
and one way to get representation is through demo reels. So this
Which
is a great way
brings
for
me to
agents
one of the
to-
biggest purposes for making a demo reel.
Yeah.
Casting directors probably have a specific role or roles that they need to cast today or this week or this hour. And watching your demo reel to see all your work may not be particularly valuable to them at that moment. Whereas an agent who's signing on to sell and represent your work entirely
Yeah.
is often going to look at the demo reel. I've heard of in casting, demo reels sometimes can break the tie.
Yeah.
They're thinking of casting 2 actors, probably not Sarah and I, because we're probably not going to go out for the same roles, but let's pretend.
Maybe.
And if they watch my reel and they watch her reel, it gives them a fuller impression of our work. So aside from our actual audition, that can help break the tie. They're going to cast Sarah because they like her better for that role, or they're going to cast me because they like me better. If they're casting me, they probably weren't ever going to cast Sarah. If they're casting Sarah, they probably weren't ever going to cast me because we don't tend to play the same roles.
No.
Largely through accident of birth. Like, she seems like she's a girl and I seem like I'm a boy.
Because I am.
Yeah, because I am. So 2 demo reels. Intros gets a little dicey. I tend to think, sort of like with the self-tape, if you do a second or 2, literally just a second or 2 of your face and name, or your face, name, and agent, that can work. That can make sense.
Than that, though.
I wouldn't go past 2 seconds. I would say that's a pretty hard and fast. Don't let your intro go past that. And I would caution you not to do a montage of still shots.
I would, if you really want a montage of your most beautiful or coolest shots, do it at the end. There's nothing wrong with having it, but if it's gonna make your reel go past 2 minutes, I would really err on the side of not putting it in. Have it as a separate thing for Instagram of like, oh, cool montage that I did. Casting can't book you off of a montage unless it's for modeling.
Right, or unless you're just literally reflecting light and looking like something.
Yeah.
In a movie or a film, they're probably gonna act. They need to see you doing something. I mean, actors are doing things. The word act is to take action. So yeah, I would say outros. You can do an outro even more easily than an intro because they can always opt out because they see it's at the end of the video, and they go, "Oh, Sarah Brown Carter. She's represented by who are you represented by?" Maverick,
and my
artist.
My management is CPS.
Is CPS?
I'm sorry. CSP. I'm dyslexic. Yeah. CSP. Management.
That works. I am represented by Carrie Macy, so I might put a headshot, my name, David August, and represented by Carrie Macy. And then anyone who's casting you can look up or find your representative's phone number and go, "It's 2 a.m. We just lost our actress. Can you get me Sarah Brown Carter, like now?"
Yeah.
And they'll hook that up. So the editing style. Some people use wipes or crossfades or other things.
Have a good one.
I tend to think, kind of like in most movies and TV, most edits are just a cut, just a simple cut.
Simple.
Maybe crossfades if you want to gently, emotionally go from one to the other and you have the material, like your crossfade as the camera's moving on to you and then you start speaking. I would also say, on the editing realm, make sure it's you. We're just watching Sarah Brown Carter's demo reel because we want to see Sarah Brown Carter.
Yes.
Not the person who has a monologue just before she says something.
Yeah, especially if it's showing their face the whole time. If someone else is talking and you have some great reaction shots, I mean, acting is reaction too. You don't have to be talking the whole time. I would start with that. But if it is showing them, you don't need to put a whole scene in your demo reel. Cut the scene up, or if you have somebody else editing your demo reel, tell them, focus on you, because that's who you're. Because I've heard of casting directors who are watching a demo reel and they'll say, "Who's that other person?
Right.
How do we find that other person?" You don't want them to do that. You want them to book you. Right. So it is fine if the sentence doesn't make perfect sense. They don't care what the story is. We're not watching a scene or a short movie. We're watching good clips of you talking that will tell them that you are bookable and that they should book you because you sound and look for the part that they're trying to cast.
Right. You are playing a role. It sounds like you're getting typecast, which isn't always a bad thing because getting cast is part of that.
It's not.
You think of really big actors whose work you admire, and they tend to play certain types of roles. Because if you think of another actor whose work you admire,
own it.
You would probably think that those 2 actors aren't going to usually play the same exact roles because they have different types.
Yeah.
I would go even further, and someone just actually commented that if you do too many crossfades or transitions like that, that can get fatiguing and very quickly.
Absolutely.
I think that's an excellent point.
Yep.
I think it was Heartfire Film that said that. And just a cut. Don't be afraid to, we're here, and then we're here, and then we're there.
Yeah, it's too
This is a live stream, so we're not actually cutting. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with a cut. People fill it in. And don't be afraid to cut out center sections of the scene. If
Yeah.
Sarah and I are doing a scene,
Absolutely.
and I tell her off, and I say, you did this wrong, and you did that other thing wrong, and you did this other thing wrong, how dare you? All you really need is the cue. How dare you? Boom, her reaction.
Oh, if it's my demo reel?
Yeah, if it's her demo reel.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then she says what she says, and I go, oh, I never realized that. And I have a moment of introspection or whatever in the original
It's
film.
my demo reel. You don't need that.
You just hear, in a perfect universe, you can even cut things together where, say, she's silent and reacting while I said, oh, I never realized that. But the actual project cuts to me. You can recut that. You can leave the audio of my line saying, oh, I never realized that, and use the video of her reaction because it's her demo reel. The focus is on her. We signed up to watch the demo reel because we wanted to see Sarah Brown Carter. Whereas in mine, let's say I'm using the same footage, I cut her reactions down to as razor thin as they can be and focus on me.
Right. You want the focus to be on you if it's your reel.
Now, another topic that I know there's other people who have opinions, and
Do you want me to
sometimes...
hold it? Is your arm getting tired?
No, I'm actually
Okay.
good. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm
Let
not
me know.
like
You're fine.
crowding either of us.
Nope. Hello. If your arm gets tired, let me know. I can hold it.
Cool. I may take you up on that. So, some people believe that you should always mention in the bottom, in some sort of text or motion graphics, what the project is. I tend to think that's not true.
Yeah.
I think, and the way it was summed up to me once by a casting director was, if I don't recognize the project, all you're doing is telling me I have a hole in my knowledge, which I don't like to know,
Yeah.
or telling me this is a project I've never heard of, maybe I don't need to care.
And another thing too, my manager even had a good point, was if you have a piece of footage of a TV show that you did and it has the logo on the bottom corner of what station it is, it's better if you can either get footage without that or crop it to what cuts it out or part of it out.
Right.
Because then, especially if you have a bunch of non-union work and now you're union and you're doing a bunch of non-union shows, it tells everybody right away that's a non-union show.
Which means it either wasn't current because you joined the union, or you're
Right.
crossing union lines. And
Right.
keep in mind, casting directors are people too, and in some jurisdictions, they're also union members.
Yeah, but if you just want your work to seem as relevant and as big of a deal as possible.
And you don't need to be promoting that network on your
Exactly,
demo reel.
it's your reel. And honestly, if it's done well, it doesn't matter if it's a student film or a CBS TV show or a blockbuster. If
Yeah.
the footage looks great, the footage looks good, the lighting is good, the sound is good, and you are good, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. You just want to be bookable.
And as Heartfire Film just said, you want the focus to be on you, which is
Exactly.
pretty much an idea you can filter a lot of your decisions in the edit through.
Exactly.
I also think if someone is working on a show that is on Network A, and they're seeing the little bug in the corner of Network B,
Competition, yeah.
the letterhead on the memo that was printed out in front of them has their network logo.
Yeah.
They've got some little giveaway, a little squeeze toy with their network logo,
Yeah.
and their paycheck has either the production company or network logo on it. Everyone likes to go, yay, go team. So if you've worked for any of the other networks in the world, you're kind of drawing attention to that, which,
Yeah, you don't want.
and it doesn't help.
Right.
You gain nothing really through it. It's sometimes tempting to be like, I'm so happy I'm working with this network whose work I really admire.
Yeah.
And you want to tell that to the world.
Put it on Facebook.
Put it on Facebook.
Instagram,
And
not in your demo
when
reel.
the show airs,
Yeah.
absolutely tag or mention that network because
Absolutely.
their social media is going to like the fact the actors in the
Yep.
project are supporting the project and Go Team are on board. But in your demo reel, which is supposed to be focusing on you, I
Yeah.
was getting a wicked lens flare for a second.
It's golden hour.
Yes. So I would tend to think if you can get the clean footage, do. But don't, omit it if you can't. If the only version you've got is something that was captured off of a broadcast and it actually has the call letters of some
Yeah.
affiliate, okay. The key is, and this gets to what the production values need to be, if it distracts from your performance, that I'm no longer watching you, I'm
Yeah.
noticing that there's a boom coming in, boom shark,
Yeah.
then
Even if your performance is good, if the footage doesn't look good, it will be distracting.
yeah, and in this day and age,
Which
anything that's been shot in the last 4 or 5 years is probably, as Karen says, as few distractions as possible.
Exactly. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you very much. That's my sister.
Oh, hello.
If you have anything that was shot in the last 4 or 5 years, which is probably what it's going to be there, then it's probably going to be high enough resolution that if there is, God forbid, a boom shark, or there's a lower third that's, you know, teasing the next show that's coming up, you might be able to push in post,
Yeah.
where you're cropping in and you don't lose that much resolution, just so it distracts less from your performance. Now, someone just asked, what about using a monologue from class? What do you think about that? Then I'll tell you what I think about that.
I've heard mixed things. I think that and again, I'm not a casting director. I'm an actor and a producer. I have worked in casting before as an associate, but I'm not a casting director. I think that if it's a really good piece that's maybe 10 seconds, good lighting and good sound, it's okay to put that in the end. I wouldn't start with it. And if that's the only piece you have, I would just try to do at least a student film and put that in the monologue. You know, not just a monologue. I would try to do something. But if it's really good, or everything is comedy and you want a drama piece, you know, I don't think it could hurt you, because it shows what you can do, as long as it's good lighting and good sound. Because otherwise, again, it's all distraction. And I would not start with it. I would put it in the end.
Yeah. Now, if the only footage you have is from class, either a scene
Yeah.
or a monologue, or if you had an audition that you thought you nailed the performance, you can use that, but probably better to use it as a clip for a specific role.
Short piece.
Because one of the things that your demo reel and actually your resume is doing is what sales professionals would call social proof, which is, we're going to do an experiment.
Okay.
I'm amazing.
He's amazing.
See, when she says it, it carries more weight. This is kind of a ridiculous example, but it proves the point that the idea that other people have hired you, that you've gone onto other people's sets and they've gotten good footage from you, is one of the things that anyone who's working with actors needs to know. They need to know, when I call in David August, or I call in Sarah Brown Carter, or I call in you, that you're going to arrive on set on time, you're going to be off book. Hi. You're going to be on time, off book, professionally, and you're going to do good work on a film set. While being able to act in a class is fantastic and invaluable, and training is very useful,
it's not the same as being on set from something that you booked.
Exactly. You're trying to show them, you're trying to take away any of their fears, any of their insecurities about bringing you to their project and letting their careers and their, even if it's your agent, letting their reputation, putting their reputation on the line. Because if I am, you know, ABC Talent and I'm representing Sarah and I send her somewhere, and if she shows up late or is rude or something like that, then exactly as Karen says, they want to minimize risk. So part of this is their careers, their project. Sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars are on the line. The reputation of a show and the rest of the cast and the crew and everyone who works in the offices that's supporting it. So you need to make sure that they know you're actually doing the work. So there's actually, this brings me to a point. I had a mentor who was of the opinion, only include in your demo reel what you've been paid to do. Now,
there's some truth to that.
There is some truth, because if you've been paid, several things have happened. One, they probably had the resources.
Sorry, I was trying to get it on my live story and it didn't work.
Okay. They have the resources to probably provided for the right lighting and sound and other technicians, so that, yes, I believe Charles just said that if you have set footage, you should kick the class footage out.
Absolutely.
And I agree.
100%.
If you're using class footage because that's all you have, great, because everyone starts somewhere. Name any actor you idolize. There was a time when they had no footage. But yes, your goal should be replacing it with something that is more professional. And I think so too, there's a school of thought that says never shoot your own material just for a reel. I don't think that that's a hard and fast rule. I think you don't want it to feel like I made this scene just for a reel. It has to feel like it's part of a story, part of a world.
And a professional short or a professional company that's making your demo reel will feel that way. It shouldn't feel like, oh, this is a demo reel scene.
It should feel like it's from a movie, from a TV show.
Real movie, exactly.
And that doesn't mean you have to shoot the entire movie.
No.
Although if you're going to go through the time and aggravation of shooting a scene, could you shoot 3 scenes and call it a short film?
Yeah.
There's something to be said for doing that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you, like, I don't have any footage of me in a crime process drama in the van being the one who's like, oh God, they're coming.
Yeah.
I could be cast as that tomorrow.
Totally.
I don't have any footage like that. I could consider, and actually have a script where I put a scene in like that just so I'd be able to get that footage if that script gets produced. I could consider shooting that scene so that hopefully my manager or agents can use that as ammunition to book me that role. And then I'll take that footage and replace it. Use only items you were paid for. He likes that. It's also...
See, some people like it and some people don't. You know, it really stick with your guts at the end of the day. It's your career.
I think what we all want to do is eventually have our reel be 100% footage we were paid for.
Absolutely.
And then as a professional goal, eventually have it be footage that we were paid more than union scale for.
Absolutely.
And
but we do all have to start someplace.
Yeah. Eventually, it's
totally get
so
that.
too with your resume. If all you've been in is a class or a community theater production, and that's all that's on your resume, great. Everyone starts somewhere. But you're going to want to probably eventually get to the point that you don't have room to keep it on there.
Of course.
That you want it to all be, you know, much more professional work, much more I was paid for work.
Of course.
Partly because it becomes sort of a canary in the mine. Are you getting paid to act, which if you want to be a professional actor is kind of important. Let me
and again, if you're just tuning in and you are not able to leave a comment on the YouTube live video, feel free to send us a question on Twitter using hashtag DemoReelDay. Somebody said that the comments weren't working, so
or if you were having some difficulty with the technology.
I got my phone out, so you can ask us on Twitter.
Yes. So I think there's a couple different schools of thought on the type of material you should include.
Oh, thank you, Heartfire Film, for posting that we're live.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We both do. I think we've sort of covered this a little, but overall, material that showcases what you are better in the world at doing as an actor than anyone else is the ideal. And the closer you can get to that, the better. If I say certain actors, Robert De Niro being a threatening mob type is so in his wheelhouse, is something he's been hired to do multiple times, that actually even in the comedies he's done, they usually use that as something he's pressing against. And back in the day, Leslie Nielsen, who I grew up seeing him in movies like Naked Gun and just comedies, when he was a young man, he was doing very serious dramas, and his beginnings of his comedy career was pushing against what he was known for doing, very serious drama. And I think eventually the marketplace tells you what it wants you to do because it keeps hiring you to do it. For instance, I've thought about it for actors and a little bit actresses because I'm an actor trying to figure out my own type. Johnny Depp almost always is playing a dark outcast with a gift in almost every film he's been in. I've seen Nick of Time where he doesn't really play a dark outcast with a gift. I'm not sure how many other people have ever seen it, because the marketplace at this point, it's what we expect and what we show up to a Johnny Depp movie to see. He's a brilliant actor. I think he can play a lot of different types. But if he were making a demo reel, which at this point he probably doesn't need to do, because he's well known enough, his work is standing as his demo. But if he were, he would probably want to choose moments where Jack Sparrow is an incredibly gifted pirate on his own, or moments where he's the demon barber of Fleet Street and he's figured out he's going to get his revenge with his razor, or where he's playing Edward Scissorhands, which he's a little older than that role now, and he's making topiary with the scissors attached to his fingers, and so forth and so forth and so forth. For women, we could get into that there haven't been as many female roles in film and television as there have been male.
We're changing that.
We are changing that. There's a combination of historical and just straight up bigoted reasons that that's the case.
Well, you know what? Don't complain about it. Write yourself some roles and get funding to make your own projects, is my thought on that.
But if Dame Judi Dench weren't making noises about being retired and weren't established, her demo reel at the age that she's at now probably should have some women with authority who are ready to dress down the other characters. Because when she's playing the Queen, or when she's playing M in James Bond, she often is dressing down the other characters. Heartfire Film mentions how Leslie Nielsen was able to branch out his sort of core type that he was playing by starting to do comedy.
I think the point is if you feel like you're typecast, you're getting paid, own it.
Yeah.
And keep getting typecast. Own that typecast. Obviously, people like you playing that certain role. Own your typecast. Save that money, make your own production company, and then write your own stories.
Yes.
And then put yourself in a different role. If no one, now you can still try to shoot a short film as a different character, or try to do a student film as a different character, and because maybe once you get a different character in a demo reel, it's more, casting will be more likely to hire you as that role. Maybe they only cast you a certain way because that's all the footage that you have.
Right.
Or maybe it's just because even though you don't like it, everyone wants you to play that role.
Yeah.
Own it until you have enough money to make your own stuff.
I remember
The Rock is very typecast.
He is, but he's brilliant
But
at what
he's
he does,
great.
and I think he enjoys it too.
I think he does too.
And I think that there's, we went to an event some months ago where an actress was talking about how she often is getting hired to play a mean girl who cries.
Yeah.
And while I'm sure she's capable of playing all sorts of other things, right now the
Yeah.
marketplace is rewarding her handsomely sometimes to do that. And like she was saying, take the money and use that to branch out.
That's right.
I think,
Exactly.
I think there was another example I was going to try to think of, but by and large, make sure the production values don't distract from your performance, because watching your performance is the purpose of the demo reel.
Yeah.
Make sure it's focusing on your performance. Make sure it's not too long. And nothing that we've said is a hard and fast rule.
No, no, no.
But some of these tend to be signals. If I show someone a 10-minute demo reel, maybe I don't know what I'm doing, and maybe I'm just starting out.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is if your demo reel doesn't look professional or doesn't showcase you in a great way, or it is 10 minutes long, the first thing, this is what was my impression when I was working on a movie recently. If I saw a 10-minute demo reel on Actors Access, I didn't even want to watch it because I thought this person doesn't know what they're doing.
Right, and
It's
they
gonna
can't
waste my time.
prioritize. It's the same
And
thing
how am I
with
supposed to find the right moment in 10 minutes?
on
know?
your own website. You probably shouldn't have much more than 8 pictures, because if you're using 60 pictures, which
Yeah.
I saw someone
It
who had
depends.
60 pictures.
It depends on the different, but I mean, the 8 pictures that look the exact same.
Right.
Like there's so many.
Part of it is just trying to figure out what you're actually trying to sell,
Yes.
and knowing that. Someone just commented that I think it might have been Karen, that it's your type is a filter that the actor brings to a role, and part of it's stereotypes. Part of it is bigotries. I'm built physically a little bit like people think lawyers are built, so I sometimes go out for professionals
That's
of
true.
authority
That's
because
also
I'm
very
a
true.
white male.
That's very
And
true.
so in a lot of story contexts in the Western world, I'm going to be that person. And I think that's changing, which is probably good, but part of it is the expectations. Does your jawline suggest hero or villain?
Yeah.
Does your, the way, it's the expectations and assumptions people make, because
Yeah.
part of what the storytelling is, and we are as actors, make no mistake, assistant storytellers, people make the assumptions, who is this person going to be in the story? And it's the same thing that we all do in life, and sometimes stories contravene that, where you see someone who looks like character A and they become actually to be character B, what have you. But that's a different conversation. For your demo reel, I think of it as, what is the 2 minutes of your work that you'd want people to see, if that was all they were ever going to see? And then that's going to hopefully bring you to and attract the representatives that you want to work with, who are excited about representing you. It's going to bring the casting directors who are fans of yours and are always going to know, Sarah Brown Carter, she can always play this type of character. Whenever I need to fill that need for any producer in the world, I'm going to call Sarah or her representative. And it's going to sort of serve you. The more you can try to play to your strengths,
Yeah.
while perhaps in class and stuff you try to strengthen your weakness. Yes. Yeah, so my sister just said, if your reel's too long, it's kind of like you're turning in the draft version. Like you couldn't
Yeah.
be bothered to trim it down to the essentials.
And you're not able to tell which pieces are the best, or the meat, the half of that might be the other person's dialogue.
Yeah,
It just shows that maybe you're not new, but me looking at that, my first thought would be, oh, unprofessional.
right.
Not a bad actor, but he doesn't know what he's doing, and therefore I don't want him on my professional set where everyone else knows what they're doing.
It's the same thing if you're going for an interview
It's a first
at a
impression.
finance firm in Wall Street and you don't show up in a business suit, maybe you don't understand the context you are entering. Because you
Right.
showed up in a t-shirt and jeans and you're interviewing to be a financial analyst, probably not a good idea.
Right.
However, if you're the dot-com billionaire who's going to do an initial public offering, you can show up in anything you wear because you're the one with the money.
That's true.
Which also, you're going to take notes throughout your career. Some of them will be ridiculous. I've gotten direction that has sometimes contradicted itself from some new directors who
Oh
didn't
yeah.
know what they were
Take it with a
doing.
grain of salt.
So, and also take what we're saying with a grain of salt.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you have a particular representative who says, no, I want to have captions, name every project you have in your demo reel. If that's what they find works and you're giving them the tools to do
Yeah.
their job well, do that.
This is just our
Yeah.
impression.
And the tendencies of what we tend to see.
Yeah.
Now, if you also want to see what everyone else is doing out there and get a sense for yourself, what works and what doesn't, what can they do tomorrow?
They can check out Twitter, probably Instagram too, but we're really advertising on Twitter. Hashtag Demo Reel Day. And that's where people will be uploading their demo reels directly to Twitter. It's best if you upload it directly to Twitter and not add a Vimeo or YouTube link. It just plays better. And then under the hashtag Demo Reel Day, you can see tons of other actors and their footage, and we can support each other and share. And something that I think you did last time was in where you upload your video, you say who you're represented by. I think a lot of times people said seeking representation, or they would say who they're already represented by.
Or are they looking for film roles
Or are they
exclusively,
looking,
or commercial roles
That's up to
exclusively?
you. You know, that's up to you.
Some
For
people-
me, I just do my rep.
Yeah, some people mention the city they're based out of.
Yeah.
Some people mention their playing range.
Yeah.
Oh, I play 25 to 35. So
Although
that
you can usually tell that in the demo reel.
you
But
usually
that's
can.
that's totally fine if
But
you want to
part
do
of
that.
this is if someone, say an agent or a manager, says, oh no, I need more white males who have a background in comedy but also are stage trained, who can play sort of 25 to 35-ish. If they see that, it allows them to focus just on those reels. And part of this is trying to make it, part of the whole point of hashtag Demo Reel Day is to make it more efficient for people to connect with the people they need to work and collaborate with, which I actually met Sarah.
That's
Because
right.
on the very first demo reel a year ago, hashtag Demo Reel Day,
A year ago.
I think it was a year ago,
Yeah, that's so funny.
we saw each other's reels
that's
and ended
so
up striking
funny.
up a conversation.
Yeah.
So you can find people that you can collaborate with,
That's
and
right.
while we haven't yet acted opposite each other,
No.
I hope to at some point
Some
soon.
point.
And there are a ton of actors, some of whom live frustratingly far away, so I
Yeah.
need to have a budget to fly people places.
But I've actually met a couple people because we also met Steph through Demo Reel Day.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I've met some of the people who I think are watching this happily
Thank you.
online and look forward to at some point collaborating. But the more you get to know each other's work and the more you just sort of, we do this, we can all help each other out, because I don't think anyone can honestly end up standing at the end of a successful anything, whether it's a career or winning an award, and say, I did it all by myself.
That's right.
Just doesn't happen. So I think final words, I have been and continue to be David August.
I am Sarah Brown Carter. Are there any more questions?
If anyone has any questions, comments, or concerns,
next couple
either about
seconds.
hashtag Demo Reel Day or demo reels or really anything related, cool. We seem like we're cool. So I will hold up my improvised motion graphics, which I think are backwards.
Oh,
So
I know. Yeah, it is
Zach.com
backwards.
has a bunch of acting resources, and hashtag Demo Reel Day is happening tomorrow, Wednesday.
Yes.
And
We look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Karen.
Yeah.
And we'll see you tomorrow, and I'll try to put the link to this so that it can be replayed if you want to watch it
Wonderful.
online tomorrow.
I'm going to rewatch it,
I'm gonna rewatch it
and
too.
I'm going to share it.
Yeah,
and
and
I'm
if we
gonna tell
find
my
sections
friends
we
to-
like,
to
we could
rewatch
even
it.
maybe, if we want to take the time, excise them out and make like a
Are you going to make
highlight
a demo
sizzle
reel?
thing. A demo reel of the demo reel.
Yay, I'm so glad.
Cool. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
yay.
Would love to collaborate with everyone. Thank you for watching. And if you have any further questions, comments, or concerns, you can find me at David August.
I am at Sarah Brown Carter on Instagram and Twitter, and I'd love to meet you guys there. Let's collaborate. Keep in touch.
I'm at David August pretty much almost everywhere, Instagram,
Likewise.
Twitter. And I'm
Yay.
excited. Charles, I think that's Charles, said he's editing as we speak for tomorrow.
Wonderful.
What is your website in case people want to watch your demo reel in advance?
SarahBrownCarter.com.
And mine is davidaugust.com.
That's right.
And I will leave you, because on this, with a beautiful shot of Los Angeles. Thanks for watching, and I hope you will join us. If you have any questions about hashtag DemoRealDay, the information is at dayact.com. Be well. Thanks for watching.